Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Welcome to this 15th class on Mantra Yoga, which, as you've noticed and as promised, we're going to dedicate it to answering questions. It's important because as we've been going around these various aspects of Mantra Yoga, I'm sure that some doubts or something must have cropped up or some difficulty. So if there is any question you'd like to put relevant to the topic, we would be happy to answer it. They have already sent by email some questions which I will answer. The first question is the idea of an observer. A kind of an observer keeps on with that talk, internal talk. Are you doing this right? And there's a kind of chatter inside. No, that is not what they told you. So this is not a real observer in the sense of the metaphysical observer, but there is a mechanism in the mind. Generally, what we would see it as conscience. You know what? When you have a kind of, there's always the voice of conscience, as I say. So, what is this? Do we need to eliminate this? The question is, how do we eliminate the inner voice? First thing is, this voice of conscience, that's always there. It kind of things that you have picked up all through your life, ideals that you have learned, and the morality that you have. That acts as a kind of a standard from the culture, from religion, etc. So this is nothing but a voice of conscience. Or if those who would like another explanation, we would call it as the idea of a superego. This is more Freudian. So this is a superego and kind of a mental activity that judges the ego's workings and activities. So that's why it's called superego. It's a kind of a mechanism that is a kind of a sentinel or an observer. So whenever you find that there is a kind of an internal dialogue, know that there is, you can attribute it to either conscience or a superego. Neurologically, the question is, how can we eliminate the inner voice, or it can be modified into something positive like, you do not have to think about results, just stay focused, etc. Yeah. Now, what is the inner voice? The inner voice is nothing but an internal brain mechanism that one can, through language, hear what one is thinking. It is not something that it's a different from, you can say, is it the sign of intelligence? No, it depends on the personality. Conscientious people generally have this kind of voice out there. Now, the idea is we need to hear our own thoughts. So the brain's mechanism is there to help you with this, especially conscientious people, because they are very precise in everything they do. And that's why you can hear your own voice. And it is like this is called either the inner monologue or inner voice. As long as that voice is not dictating things to you, it is okay. In one of our classes on meditation for beginners, we had on the third or the fourth class spoken about how to stop mental chatter. I think you can look at that. Besides, this internal chatter, as they say, is a mechanism. We have also addressed it in the thousands of thoughts in the mantra yoga. I think it was the 10th, 11th, thousands of, where we used the illustration of a metronome. Things become synchronized, things around become synchronized with you. So as you keep on doing your japa, you will find that all that internal dialogue that's going on will get synchronized with the mantra. So that will stop. The other thing is, as long as your japa is merely on the surface, you will be disturbed, rather. You will be distracted by this internal voice. Don't fight it. Go down deep inside. And then you find that voice ceasing to disturb you or distract you. The default mode of the mind or the default mode of the brain is it is constantly humming with activities. What do you mean by activities? Thoughts. So the default mode of the mind is more or less kind of a daydreaming type. But it snaps shut. The daydreams, they snap shut when you pay an attention, a solid attention. So when you are attentive to a particular thing, it ceases. All that chatter ceases. So I would, like I said, try to get down deep into the japa. So as you dive deep from the surface, as we have also mentioned, as you dive deeper and deeper and deeper, you will find the depths within you, that silent depths, where all the chatter has stopped. Another question is it okay to use a timer? It keeps me from thinking about the time while I am meditating. Well, it keeps me from thinking. Okay, yes, if it helps you, please do. A part of your mind is kind of waiting for that timer to go off. Later on, as you will find, you won't need a timer. There is already an internal circadian rhythm which will tell you it's time. So if it helps you, please use a timer. That is. So we have another question. This is regarding while doing japa, there is a sense of some people have experienced an out-of-body experience. Well, there are the out-of-body experiences and out-of-body experiences. The one that we generally associate with out-of-body experience is because of the angular gyrus. That's a part of the brain here, which is responsible for the sense of self. Okay. Now, this, when very slow moving waves from the body go down to this part of the brain called angular gyrus, what happens is it has the sense of the self. So slow moving waves gives one the feeling of kind of an out-of-body experience. These slow moving waves also, they arise from the skin. Yes, the skin is considered now by many to be an extension of the nervous system, the brain itself. There are sensations going up. This is the largest sense organs, and why not? So there is a sensory stimulus that's going to the brain from the skin, and which are slow moving. There are fast moving also, but there are slow moving. Whenever there's a slow moving waves there being generated, especially when you're trying to do japa, there are these waves in alpha, beta, theta, etc. The waves move slowly, and as they move slowly, you get the feeling of an out-of-body sensation. It is not really an out-of-body sensation. It's just the brain's tricking you. A real out-of-body experience is completely different. You will know this. This is more illusory than... But it helps people who are doing japa. When, as you're doing japa, you feel as if you are kind of lifted up, feeling kind of light and hovering about yourself. You are not really hovering. It's just the brain center with the sense of self, responsible for the sense of self, is being, you can say, stimulated by very slow waves. So these are kind of something technical. And we also have this idea that the japa is so powerful, it's just impossible for us to just conceptualize the power inside that. Okay. So there's two questions. I start sweating after 15 minutes into meditation. Also, some unnecessary negative thoughts are still troubling me. How to eliminate that? As we've mentioned, this whole 10 minutes was dedicated to talking about negative thoughts, but I'll address the sweating. Sit down comfortably, wear comfortable clothes, and keep the room temperature comfortable. As we meditate, there is an internal heat that is generated. It is true that you will start begin sweating, but generally the sweat will begin on the head. If you begin sweating, stop meditating, because the brain actually and the body has to be a little cool. There is an internal psychic energy that rises, and that is taking all the other energies upwards. It's helpful. Ordinarily, when you're doing a kind of an exertion, you sweat. So when you are doing japa, sit down still, completely relaxed, but alert, and do it. There should be no strain. If there is a strain, your body is trying to correct itself in sitting down or trying to do something, then you are generating that heat. It's from the thoughts. If there are too many thoughts churning in your head as you're doing japa, you're going to sweat. So try to focus on one thought, and that will reduce the sweating and the shakings if there are. Unnecessary negative thoughts, these thoughts have been thought by you. It is something that you have thought about, and they're coming out. If unnecessary negative thoughts come, just ignore them. Just ignore them. Like my guru itself had told me, when thoughts and unnecessary negative thoughts come, ignore them and stick on positive thoughts. Stick on the mantra. So these guys, without attention, that is the negative thoughts, will leave you. Everybody wants attention. They're all clamoring for attention. When you don't give them attention, they will leave you. Okay. Swamiji, becoming a monk is like joining a university. It is a structured approach with a lot of supports, checks and balances to enjoy. Yeah. Why should people remaining out of such a system do to remain immersed towards a goal and be on track? Oh, what should people do? Okay. You know, there are some people, even though they are not monks like us, they are ordinary people, householders, yet they have a kind of a monkish attitude towards things. There are also monks with the householder mentality. Okay? So there is externally a very sharp distinction between these two. Yes, becoming a monk, one has to lead a very structured life over the years, and that structure enables one to reach the highest goal. But in case you are not a monk, technically, but yet you have some monk tendencies or attitudes, or you can say thoughts, then the best way for you to help you in all things is to have devotion to God. Have sincere devotion to God, and you will find that it's being helpful. So this devotion to God actually is very structured. So much of japa, so much of prayers, so much of fasting, so much of this, so much of that. There's a measured way. So take up the practice, devotional practice, any practice, and keep on moving ahead. Things where you'll find you gradually improving. If you don't succeed in integrating the 3 spaces in the repetition of the mantra, is the japa a little bit effective? Yes, japa itself will be effective, don't worry about it. But if you can integrate the 3 spaces, nothing like it. You will be like, okay, you've got a old car and you're puttering about slowly. Or you'll have a very modern, powerful car. What would you choose? So these 3 spaces will need a little time to be integrated. So keep on repeating the mantra. As you keep on, you will find all the 3 spaces, the Maha-Akash external space, the internal space, and the knowledge space. They are all integrating. So keep on doing it, and you will find that actually the integration is being done every time you're trying to meditate or trying to do japa. It's not falling into place perfectly. So you are, when you're doing japa, you are following that principle. Just do it a little more intensely, and you will find things balancing out. Negative thoughts make me worry and disturbing a lot continuously, and loop of bad thoughts. So, yeah, like I said, negative thoughts, etc., disturbing and continuously. You have to break that loop. You have started something which you can only break. Only you can do that. So what you do is, whenever a bad thought comes, counter it with a good thought. And that needs a little attention. Whenever any bad thought comes that is disturbing you, bring in a good thought. Slowly and slowly. Suppose a thought comes of gluttony. I want to eat this or that. Bring in the thought of, say, thousands and thousands of people are starving. They are hungry. They are thirsty. So whenever you find that you can counter or balance one thought with the other, these negative thoughts will stop disturbing you. So another thing, you should not get agitated or worried. These thoughts are your thoughts that are coming out now. And so what we need to do is keep on countering, one after another, and another. And then you will find a tremendous sense of energy being released inside. And this is a great, you can say, help to suppressing all negative thoughts, all bad thoughts, all evil thoughts. So these will be a kind of a obstacle. And most people face these obstacles in the very beginning. How persistent you are, how serious you are, how strong you are being tested. And not only in the very beginning, you will be tested at every step of the way. How persistent you are, how much do you want to reach the goal? There is a saying in Sanskrit, Shreyansi Bahu Vignani. Whenever you want to do anything good, you will have many, many obstacles. The moment you want to do anything bad, you see, you will have no obstacles. You simply, everything will become open and you can do bad things. But the moment you want to do something good, obstacles will come. Okay? So you can pray to God, and that also is a great help. Prayer, vigilance, and countering negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Bring thoughts of suffering and pain and misery. The world is suffering. Half the world is suffering from all this. And in these days of pandemic, you can understand. So bring vivid, you can say, scenes. Like I said, you want to eat something, that idea of gluttony comes. Look at starving people then. Look at them and see what they are helpless. So this is how you counter your negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Slowly and slowly and slowly, we will come out of this. So we still have a little time. So japa is, as I say, I remember once, a long time ago, one Swami informally is saying, japa. So he's saying, ja means janma, birth. Pa is papa. So you destroy all the sins that has given rise to your birth. So all the sins that have been accumulated in you through a series of births, which leading to this one, japa can destroy it. So as you keep on doing it, you will find you are growing stronger and stronger. The idea is take one mantra and persistently over and over and over and over and over again, you will finally see the light. There are many things like you will see the mantra with shining light, etc. We also would like to make an announcement, those who are here. From next Saturday, that's next Saturday, we'll start Mantra Yoga 2. I mean, a slightly higher level of these same talks. So we were bringing out the best in you by giving you various methodologies. And we hope that you have been benefited by it by obviously practicing. So as you keep on practicing, you will find certain other things arising up which need to be addressed. So we will start Mantra Yoga 2, part 2. Like we had meditation for beginners and then meditation skills for meditators. That was the higher version of the first. So this also we will. We also would, on the 25th Saturday, there will be no class. And on the 2nd October Saturday, which generally, that 2nd October class on Saturday will be shifted to Friday. The rest of the Saturdays will carry the same Mantra Yoga too. So it's just on these 2 days one needs to be aware of. 25th September, the class is cancelled because I'm going to San Diego. 2nd October, also I'm going to San Diego, but I don't want to give too long a break. So I've shifted the class on Friday morning at 10. Okay. Yeah, so we have no more questions here.
Just one just came in.
Well, it's not come yet.
Experiencing japa of everything super bright, super colors, I feel lifted, feel the joy, but it doesn't last very long, comes and goes. Feels like myself interfere with it. What do I do wrong?
Tears.
She says that during japa she experienced super bright, super colors, feels a lot of joy, but it doesn't last long. What am I doing wrong?
Oh no, you're doing perfectly right, and I want to congratulate you in your feeling super bright and super light and happy. That is the correct indication of you are doing japa correctly. Okay? So what is happening is there are two broad divisions of impressions in the mind. One is the spiritual impressions, which are awakened by your japa and which your japa contributes more to it, to increasing it. There are others, it's called the unspiritual impressions. Okay? Now, I'm not talking in the sense of bad or dirty or something impressions. No. These are other impressions devoted to the material objects of life. Materialism. So spirituality and materialism. It's called yoga samskaras, yoga impressions, and vyuthana impressions. So what happens is, as these is rising higher and higher and higher, there is a rise and then there's a kind of a slight taper. Then when there's a slight taper, these old impressions of materialism, they come and they try to push this away. So if you keep on persisting in japa, you will feel light and you will feel good, you will feel kind, you will feel compassionate, you will feel so spiritual. It won't last for too long. For now. Later on, it will last. It will last the whole day. After you've done a 1 hour of japa, you stop, you're going to your work or doing some other thing. That kind of, you can say, spiritual intoxication will remain with you after you've stopped your japa also. It will continue over and over and over and over. It will remain with you throughout the day. We have seen that if you can do japa 2 times a day, your whole day will be suffused with that light. It starts with, it will last with you for 1 hour after you finished your japa. Then slowly it will increase by 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5. There will be a kind of a constant joy there inside. You will be doing all types of work with that constant joy. So that takes practice, that comes in time. So continue with what you are doing. It is really good.
A question that I don't know if appeared there. One of it is, Revere Maharaj, is japa more effective than just chanting the Lord's name?
Is japa more effective than just chanting the God's name? Yes, japa is more effective than just chanting God's name. Because as I mentioned, you are doing japa, thinking of the meaning, trying to visualize it. The whole mind is engaged in this activity. So, and always when things are done deep and silent within the mind, it's always more powerful. I'm not trying to lower the necessity or the utility of chanting. Chanting is necessary. In fact, if you can chant before you do japa, nothing like it, loudly. Chanting changes the mind. Simply sitting down quietly and saying, I will not do chanting, I will only do japa. So, to make the japa even more stronger, you do the chanting first and then stop. Become silent and then keep on doing japa. I think we have in one of our classes already mentioned that you do it audibly, then semi-audibly, and then silently, and then even more silently, deeper and deeper and deeper inside, you go inside. So chanting does change the tone of your mind, and it kind of loosens the soil of your mind. And then when you do silent japa, the soil is already loosened, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
Another one. Benefits of doing 15 japa per day as Sarada advised.
Benefits of doing 15.
What are the benefits of doing 15,000 like Mother?
15,000 japa benefit? Oh my God. If you can do it, you will realize God more quickly. Oh yeah, but do it correctly. Yeah. Holy Mother Sharda, she used to do 100,000. So she is kind of given us, okay, 10 or 15,000 japa. Yes, it will revolutionize your mind. It will revolutionize your heart. But you must do it correctly, properly. That is important. When you're distracted or we're feeling lazy or feeling sleepy and doing japa, that will not count. So you've got to be alert. Say, it will, Swami Brahmananda says, do 10,000 japa for a couple of years, and if nothing happens, come and slap me. Can you imagine? He says that, if nothing happens, come and slap me. So what Swami Brahmananda also has said is the truth. Mother has said the truth. So it will revolutionize. There is no doubt about it.
Swamiji, is it important to contemplate on the meaning of the mantra while chanting, like Gayatri mantra, or is it repetition more important?
Repetition, just plain repetition, is half effective. You have to understand the meaning of what you are chanting. That's why Patanjali in his yoga aphorism says, Tad japa, that is japa, tad artha bhavanam, where the meaning of the word, of the meaning of the mantra is dwelt upon. So simply chanting without knowing the meaning is just half effective. Not even half, it's 1/3 effective. So you must be able to chant, repeat the mantra, think of the meaning, as well as visualize. We have been talking about how to curtail all that mental disturbances, that mental chatter. Thinking of the meaning gives your japa a depth. It goes down deep. And as it becomes deeper and deeper, this is the only way for japa to become really effective. So the meaning, along with visualization, it may look a little difficult, but then what is easy in life? So don't try to take the shortcut of, just repetition. There is a benefit, of course, in that. But the real benefit, the solid, rock solid results will come in as you keep on doing your thinking of the meaning and the visualization. Nothing like that. Okay.
Well, the question, if the mantra Om is the sound of the universe, how is it possible that it does not transform your suffering, and also it does not destroy the human DNA?
Does not destroy suffering? Well,
why is it not destroying after repeating Om?
How much times do you repeat Om? So that's the idea. Suppose I say Om once. Where is my suffering? Oh, it's gone. No. So, what's the next part of the question?
And it also does not destroy the human DNA.
Why should it destroy the human DNA? That's ridiculous.
Make it different, he says.
Yeah, it won't destroy the DNA. It will. What you are doing is, there is something called the telomerase. Now, don't get into this DNA business. It's a separate topic. Because nothing changes in your body. Meditation helps in, every time a cell replicates, okay, the DNA in the cell also replicates. It's copied. It's copied and copied and then what happens is there are sometimes errors in that copy. There are two ends of the DNA called the telomerase. They are like you can say, you have a shoestring. At the end of the shoestring, you have a small kind of a metal kind of clip to keep the laces from flaying. So this telomerase is this. Meditation is found, stress actually flays these telomerase, stress and tension and suffering. So when you meditate, all the stress and tension and all that suffering goes away. So the telomerase remain intact. So you can live a more stress-free, healthy life. Yes, that is true. So suffering, why should suffering go away? Suffering, Swami Vivekananda says, show me how much a man has suffered, and I will tell you how great that person is. To attain anything, one must suffer. But that suffering should not be because of desires, because silly ideas of suffering, Physical suffering is, Shri Ramakrishna says that you have to pay taxes. Some taxes have to be paid, some rent has to be paid when you live in the body. When you rent a house, you've got to pay rent. If you don't pay rent, the landlord will say, get out. So when you're living in the body, certain things we have to pay, and that comes out in diseases, etc. So that is inevitable. There is something called mental suffering. That's because of selfishness, desires, etc. Give them up. So egotism, that's suffering. So as you keep on chanting Om repeatedly over and over again, think of its meaning. It is the symbol of God. It is the symbol of this universe. It is a symbol of creation, preservation, destruction. It is the greatest symbol, the highest symbol. And if you can think in these lines, then slowly you will attain that which is beyond suffering. You will transcend suffering.
One important question: how do I know I am correctly thinking of the meaning of the mantra? How I know it that I'm correctly thinking of it?
Well, your guru has told you this is the meaning of the mantra. Now, depends on which mantra you have taken. I had mentioned it. Every mantra has three parts. One is the absolute aspect, and when that absolute aspect is, as it were, concretizing or manifesting in this world, it is the second syllable of the mantra. Then that very absolute which has become further concretized comes in the form of, say, Shiva or Durga or Ramakrishna. So you have three aspects. The personal aspect, the one that Ramakrishna or Shiva or Durga or whatever. Then the higher aspects of that very Shiva or Ramakrishna or Durga. The universal aspects. And then the Om, which is the absolute aspect. So you must understand your chosen ideal, your mantra, to have these three parts, and your chosen ideal also to have three parts. So as you keep on thinking of the meaning, even if you don't know the specific meaning, just think it is the name of God. It is a sacred name. And as you keep on doing your japa, you will find the real meaning of that mantra revealing itself to you. So if you have a mantra of Shiva, don't you know what Shiva is? Well, it is Shiva. Shiva is that which is auspicious. Shiva, the great God, is the universal God. Shiva also is the absolute God, beyond all the three qualities. Shiva is also in that beautiful form, that blue form of his. There he is. So this is how you can raise yourself from the lowest to the universal to the absolute. Okay?
So last comment. Today is September 11th, the day Swami Vivekananda delivered the historic
Yes. Today is that first September 11, 1893, at the World's Parliament of Religion. He spoke about the harmony of all religions and the need for all harmony. And today, sadly also, 20 years ago, we had the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center brought down by, you can say, religious extremism. So the world needs to acknowledge Vivekananda's message for religious tolerance, religious understanding, religious harmony, for us to live in a much safer, sane, and sensible world. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.